Now, a new report has found that more than two-thirds of toddlers under the age of 2 are using screens, and some for up to 8 hours a day.
It's a worrying figure. Of course, comes just weeks after the government advised parents that kids that age shouldn't be using screens at all.
Now, the research was commissioned by the 1001 Critical Days Foundation, a charity that works to improve the health of babies up to the age of 2 years old. And please say we're joined now by its founder and former Health Minister, Dame Andrea Leadsom. Dame Andrea, thanks so much for joining us. Important, isn't it, the name of the charity, 1001 Days, because up to the age of 2 is like a sponge for a child, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. Pregnancy to age 2, we are so underdeveloped as human beings. We're actually born about 2 years premature. And in that first 2 years, our brains are putting on billions of neural connections every minute. So the experiences that you have in that period really shape your lifelong physical and mental well-being.
And we're right to interpret the data in this that some under 2-year-olds are doing 8 hours a day?
A small minority, but almost 30% of under 2-year-olds are having more than 3 hours screen time a day. And I do want to be very clear here that parents have not been given very careful scientific advice on why they shouldn't do that. And you can totally understand it from their point of view. You know, if you're trying to get the meal on the table, if you're trying to do the washing, if you're trying to get some sleep, very easy to give your baby a screen. And also, I think a lot of parents find it soothes the baby, except, again, the research shows that it doesn't soothe the baby. In fact, it disturbs the baby's sleep. So parents who give their babies lots of screen time find their child sleeps for less time and is more disturbed.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because whether you allow your child to have screen time or not, or you manage it really well, there will be parents that say, look, this is extra guilt. On all the advice that we get, if you're working from home and it's the only option to give your child a device so that you can carry on with work or you can carry on with these daily chores, what do you say to them?
Yeah, and this is the challenge. I mean, as early as advisor to the government, we did a big research project into what do parents feel they need to be confident parents. And the thing above all else that they said to us is they need information. What does it take to be a confident parent? And so, yes, exactly, parents are hard-pressed. It's joyful but really hard work having a baby. And they need much more information so they can make good choices. So there is some evidence in this global review that actually co-watching with a baby could be actually helpful, certainly not as harmful, but at the same time, a lot of screen time, not just a tiny bit, but, you know, the sort of 3 hours a day that a lot of babies are getting is actually quite harmful, and it's not in your interest. So far from soothing your baby, you know, 1 in 10 babies go to sleep with a device, and some parents say you then have to sort of wrestle it out of their little hands when they're asleep.
But the other side of this, though, parents will say, if there was affordable childcare, that would help us out. We wouldn't have to give the iPad. We wouldn't have to, you know, resort to digital childcare in a way.
Well, I'm not sure that that necessarily follows, because for a lot of parents, you know, at the moment, as we know, childcare, taxpayer-funded childcare comes in at 9 months if you're both working. But what we're talking about here is the screen time that's at meal times, and there's evidence that that stops your small one from understanding that they've stopped being hungry. So there's a link with obesity. So things like that, those are very serious issues that parents will want to know about. Every parent wants to be a good parent, and what government, what society needs to do is to give them alternatives. As Minister, we established the Family Hubs and Start for Life programme, and I'm delighted that the new government has carried on and expanded that programme, including Healthy Babies. And actually, those sorts of one-stop shops where you can go with your baby, you can do stay and play, you can get some therapy for yourself, a cup of tea, meet some friends, actually get some distractions that aren't digital-based. Those are the kinds of replacements that parents need so that they, for their own mental health, that they can actually find themselves within a community. So I would point to that rather than childcare as the solution.
Obviously, you're focused on very young children in this. Do you, though, support the ban of social media for under-16s? Do you think that will be something that's helpful in general?
Absolutely. But there's a very big difference. At At teenage, you're worrying about the content of social media, the algorithms that sort of tell you, yes, go and kill yourself or whatever it might be. In babyhood, it's the ping, pop, it's the bright lights. And actually, babies who are left in front of screens for a long time at this stage, where they're fixed gaze, there's actually a big study in China that shows that that damages your eyesight, causing myopia, which leads to later blindness in some cases. Now, all of these things need further research, but parents need to know that actually a long time spent, particularly in front of a handheld device, which, you know, I've seen hacks that suggest you should tape them onto the handlebars of the baby carrier so that you've got your baby as literally a prisoner in front of
I think your point there is really interesting because to parents like us, we'll take on that advice, we'll manage it, but it's the parents that are doing that currently and how this message then breaks through to them.
Absolutely right. And very sadly, 85% of the parents we surveyed were given no advice from a health visitor, a midwife or a GP. So they're getting no information. So they're told, don't give your baby a screen under 2. But parents, we all live in the real world. You know, if you need to get the dinner on the table, then it's very easy to say, well, I'll just do this. And it's totally understandable.
Quick final question before we lose you. Do you get sort of deja vu at the moment with what's going on with the current government, with some of the final days of your own?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Having spent 2 years as Leader of the Commons in a hung parliament and seeing the, you know, back and forth, absolutely. But I'm very glad to be doing this. You know, this is my real passion.
You're glad you're joining us at the 9 o'clock hour, not at the start of the 7 doing the morning round.
Also true, yeah, the morning round, that was always the real treat for any unsuspecting politician.
Well, Andrea, thanks so much for stopping by. We really appreciate it.
Great to see you.
Really
Thank
interesting
you.
survey this morning.